Today's video is brought to you by 1st Phorm. Now, it's always a question if you're out there buying fitness or health products, whatever it is, nutrition, protein sources, whatever it is, whether you're giving your money to a woke corporation somewhere. Well, 1st Phorm is a pro-freedom supplement company, and whether you're looking for a protein source, a bump of caffeine, some vitamins, whatever it is, they are a one-stop shop for that, and I am proud to have them as a major sponsor of the channel here. They helped me stay alive at SHOT Show last week, and I thank them very much for supporting the mission here at the VSO Gun Channel. Go check them out. Tell them that I sent you, and it helps out when you do. Thanks. Let's get into the video. Who do you want for ATF director? Do you want Blake Masters? Do you want Brandon Herrera? Do you want the guy who's currently sitting there to stay there? Sound off in the comment section down below. Let me know. And the reason I bring that up is because these days it seems like, I mean, half the time you guys do my work for me. One of you has forwarded me a very popular video by another firearms creator, and I'll be honest and say that I have never seen this man's content before, and so I'm judging this sole video based on only itself.
Well, he made a number of them, but one of the biggest ones was to actually reverse what Biden had done to restrict gun ownership and make it harder for people to own firearms. And you may say, well, he hasn't done anything with that yet. Well, actually he has. It's right here in front of us. And today I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm talking about. It's another him playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers type of move.
Channel name is Hegshot87, and I'll have a link to his original video and his channel in all the relevant places you can run it down. But basically, to summarize the video, is that he believes that it is an intentional play to leave Marvin Richardson, the acting director of the ATF, in place at that agency, and that this is a good move. Well, the next most pertinent question would be, who is Marvin Richardson, and what has he done that Hegshot87 would believe that he is a good fixture there? He streamlined eForms. He made it so that you can register faster. That's what he did. Now, whenever something like that happens, especially in government, you should always ask yourself the question, why? What's the play? And in order to do that, you must consider the context. So you should never just accept something in a vacuum. This happened and therefore it's good. What was the reason that it happened? Well, the reason that it happened, if you remember back, is because they just changed a whole bunch of rules through executive fiat that would ultimately end up requiring a exponential increase in registrations. So in order to handle those registrations, you're going to need the system to work better. So they opened up eForms for Form 4s for people. Now, in my opinion, and maybe yours, I don't know, sound off in the comment section down below, let me know. The short-term result of Marvin dicking around in eForms is a clearing of the backlog of the NFA and ultimately faster processing times for those Form 4s when they're submitted. But that's in the absence of what they tried to do, which is to register every AR and AK pistol and every heavy pistol that exists in the United States. That's what we call a fumble. So had they not been held up in court, this is not the situation that we would currently be in. We would be seeing a 10 or 100x increase in the volume that the system would be processing. That is why they did it, not because they like you, and it's not because Marvin wanted you to be able to get your suppressor faster. We call those unintended consequences.
What is your proudest achievement in those 33 years at ATF?
Wow, you know, I almost have to, I'm going to bring it probably to a very current issue that I think is going to have a great impact on where we go from here. A lot of things I think over those 33 years, but if I'm looking at something currently that is happening, you know, we enforce laws in this country for ATF that are 88 and 54 years old, respectively, right? The National Firearms Act and the Gun Control Act.
Which, for the record, are outdated, unconstitutional, draconian, and should be thrown out.
Those two laws have not been overhauled. They haven't been changed significantly over the course of that time, 88 and 54 years. But when you think about firearms, when you think about technology, when you think about processes and things of that nature, those things have changed. And so we have been limited by the language in the statutes. Well, here just recently, over the last year, we overhauled those two statutes, no small feat at all, to make sure that we could set the stage moving forward for law enforcement to have the tools that we need to be able to enforce these laws in a 21st century environment. That was no small feat, because literally when you talk about changing it, we had to do it through a regulatory process, not a statutory process, because we couldn't change the language of the statute, but we could redefine the terminology that's in the statute to make it fit today's standards.
That video was published on July 26, 2022 by the Blue View, which is an extension of the Fraternal Order of Police. So real quick side note, if you are ever asked to donate to the Fraternal Order of Police, tell them to go get fucked. Having somebody like this on their show shows exactly why there is a huge disconnect between the governed and the people who are enforcing the laws. Constantly complaining about how people hate cops. Associations like this are why, gentlemen. Anyway, to translate what just went down there is a couple months after the frame and receivers rule and the pistol brace rule come out. Again, just arbitrary changes by the executive agency, no input from Congress or anything like that. A couple months after those rules come out, the deputy director of the ATF at the time comes up and says that that is his proudest achievement in his 33 years. Boys and girls, we're not done, because Mr. Richardson was one of the agents that participated in the murder of over 70 United States citizens, many of them women and children, that were literally burned inside of a building in Waco, Texas in the 1990s. What do you think that he might have to say about that? This story comes from UPI. Federal agents who participated in the ill-fated raid against the Branch Davidian compound near Waco, Texas, say in retrospect, they feel misled by their leadership, but do not blame the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives for the tragedy. Do I feel that my leadership misled me? Sure I do, said ATF agent Marvin Richardson about the controversial decision to proceed with the raid. I mean, but do I blame them under the circumstances for what happened? No, I don't. They, the ATF, didn't pull the trigger. You know, the people, the Branch Davidians that pulled the trigger were inside that compound. Now, the lens of history can blur things a little bit, right? We all know this. But I think that it's always important whenever we talk about a historical thing to consider the context in which the two sides were found to be in combat. Now, today we know the Branch Davidians to be crazy people, cultists, right? But in their mind, they have a religious site and the government of the United States is there to storm it. If you found yourself in that context, would you not be shooting too? Now, I advise you to not answer that question in the comment section down below. But my point is that the jurisdiction of the government should not extend inside of religious places. And I can totally see a reasonable argument why somebody would feel that the government showing up with an army to my church with guns, grenade launchers, and all that stuff might provoke a certain kind of response, whether I believe that those people were ultimately in the right or not. What is an indisputed fact is that the actions of the ATF that day resulted in the deaths of tens of American citizens in the most horrible way possible. And this goober right here isn't even sorry about it. And he even got a fucking medal for it. So if you would like more information on why Mr. Richardson is the exact antithesis of who should be running the ATF, then there is a full expose on AmmoLand for your reading pleasure, and I will have it linked in all the relevant places so that you can find it very easily. And my message to the Trump administration is, sir, you ran last time on draining the swamp. Well, now you're back. This is the definition of a swamp creature. And as an FFL and a dog owner, I will tell you that I am in serious peril right now. I would like for you to fix this problem, sir. And my suggestion to you is that you should nominate Brandon Herrera as the director of the ATF so that he can reform that agency and ultimately bring it to a position where it can be eliminated from the rolls forever. Thank you for watching.